and welcome to another episode of Worst Collection Ever. This is the show where we tell you about the worst comic collection in existence, and it just happens to belong to us. I'm Jen.
I'm Sean. I was just breathing into the mic.
I was like, oh, you're like, I'm Sean.
I was just having a breath. It was weird.
You doing all right?
I'm fine. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about some Defenders today. It's gonna be very exciting. Over the weekend we went to a metal themed gastropub.
Yes.
Heavy metal.
Yes.
Which you showed me, and they have some pretty good food there. It's called the Brutal Poodle.
Mm-hmm.
That was a treat. It's always fun to go when there's themed stuff that has a lot of
we had and Justice for egg rolls.
Yeah. Which actually were probably one of the best parts of the meal. I was really impressed with them.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. So that was cool. And then we ended up stopping into a 5280, which is a awesome. What was it? I just know it's 5280, but it's like awesome toys or some shit.
Yeah. It's like 5280 something.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so it's a place, it's so if you ever watch like a video, like a TV show where it's like, let's go to Denver and see what's going on, like everybody will go to that store.
Yeah.
For some reason, they always end up at that store. I don't know if they don't go to the reason why they don't go to like a place like Mile High, where there's clearly a lot more stuff. Maybe because they just don't want like film crews in there, like big film crews.
Sure.
But this place will have it.
There's no real room in that place for big film crews. Not Mile High at 5280.
Yeah,
it's tiny.
It's very congested, and it's like you literally, if you're gonna do that,
you have to be careful not to knock things over.
Yeah, like you literally have to be like, hey, you know what? Everybody's gonna have to leave the store, so we could film, this footage for a half hour and have somebody go around and be like, oh, I remember that, and then pick it up and not buy it.
Yeah.
But I ended up buying some wrestlers. You bought some Catwoman.
I did. I bought a Catwoman.
You found some more Batcat merchandise, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, they're I don't remember exactly what these. I'm sure they have like a name, but they're those little plastic puzzles that they used to make back in like the early 90s, where they have little tiles that you have to slide around to make a picture. I'm sure they have some sort of like fancy name. I don't know what they are, but I have one that was a Batman. I happened to see it sitting on the shelf and I was like, oh, there's Batman from Batman Returns. And I was like, hey, that's cool. And I just happened to pick it up because there was something underneath it and it was a Catwoman one.
Nice.
And I was like, oh man, both of them, I have to buy them. And then I fought with them because the puzzles weren't working and the tiles don't move. It was very frustrating, but I got them to work.
Yeah. Lucky they just didn't all fall out of it.
I actually had to take them out.
Oh, really?
I did take them out and put them back together.
Yikes. Yeah, so then we had up there was an emo flea market, which didn't really feel much like that.
Yeah, there's so by the Brutal Poodle, there's also this like horror shop. It's like a horrid magazine sort of thing, and it has like all this horror stuff. And it's attached to a very fun coffee shop called Sugar and Scream.
Scream and Sugar,
excuse me. Very fun, which they've actually built out since we went there before. It's now in this little cute little place to sit. And then they had like in the back, this place called the Creepatorium, which is like a performance space. And they had like an emo flea market. So you could buy, I don't know, tarot card necklaces or whatever. I don't remember what else was there.
It didn't feel very emo. It just kind of felt
there just wasn't a lot of stuff there. I expected it to be much bigger just based on the outside.
Yeah.
But it was not. And I think it is also tricky because there's a mirror like along one wall. So when I walked in, I really did think there was more to it than there ended up being. And then I realized it was a mirror because I'm dumb.
Dough.
Yes.
But I do think it was funny because in that coffee shop, they were playing that movie Malignant.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie since we saw it in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
And I completely forgot that monster that woman turns into like talks.
Oh, yes.
And like he's just because there's this part where he's thrashing around somewhere and he's like, oh, you bitch, whatever. And just saying things. And I'm like, why is it talk? I thought it was just I
don't remember it doing that.
I don't even think it has a mouth.
I think it does because it's like her twin on her back.
Yes, a twin on the back of her head that was they shoved inside of her brain. But then like she got smashed into a wall by her boyfriend. So then
that's right.
It activated and started coming out,
her thing,
killing all of her babies that she's had a bunch of miscarriages. So she just, but because their parasitic twin was siphoning their nutrients or something, whatever. It's funny. I remember seeing that movie and it was wacky.
I called it, like, I knew what was going on because we saw it in Buffalo.
Yes.
And I was watching it and I was like, oh, I bet I know what's going on. And we were only like a fourth way through. And then I was like, oh, I was right. So that kind of was like kind of a letdown.
Yeah. Nonetheless, we also had Royal Rumble this weekend. It's always a fun event to watch pro wrestling for. Probably honestly, I think it's better than Mania in a lot of respects.
I would rather watch the Rumble, to be quite honest with you.
Because Mania is big and it's got a lot of, it's like the culmination of all these big matches and angles and all that stuff. But the Royal Rumble, like, just has a lot. It just has a vibe to it that it's like it's unpredictable. Because you don't know, you don't know who's coming out when and who could be coming out at any time and who they might. And now with, things the way they are, a lot of possibilities are open to not just have like wrestlers, but like, other, from WWE wrestlers, but also other wrestlers from different promotions or other celebrity or just things that are like fun. So, yeah, so it was a pretty good. I always feel sometimes with the women's Rumble, it never hits a certain gear. Like it kind of just like but it's not like as exciting sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I thought last year's women's Rumble was actually better than this one.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's because like Naomi was there, like she came back and like, I don't know, for some reason it just felt more exciting than this one. And I don't know if that was because there was two things, at least at the beginning of the Rumble. I did not know most of the theme music and the volume was down, like however they had the sound set up, that I could not hear half of them.
Well, they're in this
it was gigantic stadium, like
an Indianapolis stadium or whatever.
Yeah.
But also like the music that a lot of these wrestlers have.
It sounds very similar.
Indistinct. And there's so many like shitty individual themes for wrestlers that don't always come out to them.
Right.
You don't always hear those themes, so you're not really paying attention. And it's not like distinct.
It's not distinct. I think that's also another problem across the board with the women. I can't think of one women wrestler's theme song that has like the same sort of power as like Jey Uso's or Seth Rollins or Cody Rhodes, because honest to God, and I've said this before and I will say it again, to get over with crowds, you have to have a theme song that the crowd wants to sing.
Crowd wants to sing and they can
do something too.
Yeah.
There can be a call and response like LA Night. Yeah. Whatever it has to be. That's what they want. And I can't think of one woman's theme song that actually does that.
Becky Lynch is kind of like that in the beginning.
Maybe.
Hers is a very distinct one, I think. And it's not one of those ones that came from the, this new person they have there.
Right.
But, there's a few others that are good, but there's a lot of them that's just like, here's this woman and here's this guitar riff and here's, or this drop beat.
Yeah. And nothing of it's not distinct. And I feel like they need to, I don't know, work with whoever that person is or whoever the new team. Didn't they get a new team or something?
No, they've had these producers known as Def Rebel who have been doing these themes. There was that CFO $sign that had a lot of songs, like the Gloria song.
Sure. That's a great one.
That's a great one.
Because again, there's one people like to sing.
Yeah.
And do the thing too.
Yeah, do a thing too. And it's a good time, but some of them, these do want like these other team, like they're
so generic.
I feel like they're just there just to churn it out. Because WWE, for all the creativity that they foster in certain things, there's a lot of stuff that they just don't really care to make an effort in.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to play things safe.
Sure.
And not get too it's almost as if though with some of these wrestlers, especially with the women wrestlers, or really any of the actual wrestlers, but sometimes it feels like with the women, like there's so many women, so many people on this roster, and not everybody can have a spot.
Of course not.
So if you're just shoving them onto TV for the sake of shoving them onto TV, you're not going to not going to have, Def Rebel make like a killer song for Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville's pretty. That's not maybe a good example, but like her friend, like Zoe Stark, that she's a wrestler who's like, she's good, but they're not going to make all that effort, unfortunately, unless if things change.
I will say, I just thought of Bianca probably has a theme.
Oh, Bianca definitely
has the theme that everybody like. Oh, you hear it, you know it. People sing along to it.
Yeah, Naomi also had a good theme, but I think she decided to change
it, which sucks. I liked her other one.
Yeah, I think she changed it on purpose because she sings this one.
Oh, I get it, but the other one was better.
Oh no, it was way better.
Yeah, sorry, Naomi, but the other one was better. So I think that was kind of a bummer. With that, the women's Rumble was fine. I of course liked that there wasn't a billion matches. There were only like 4.
Yep.
Counting the 2 Rumbles. So that was fun. Happy to see Joe Hendry. I knew we were going to see Joe Hendry because I called it when we were walking out of that pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Because I was like, he's going to show up. And he did. And I was very happy. I cheered on the couch.
If you're not familiar with Joe Hendry, he is just this delightful Irish boy. Or is he Scottish or Irish?
I think he's Scottish. Maybe.
Okay, I think he's Scottish, because it's like the
he's
blue
Scotland.
flag.
Yeah, he's Scottish.
But delightful Scottish boy.
He's just fun. He's just such a self-promotion machine, which is why he's gotten to the point where he is.
Well, also he writes his own, he writes songs, like he's talented in that regard.
He got it to like be on some European chart too, that song.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, his same song where it's I Believe in Joe Hendry.
Yeah. Again, something everybody wants to sing is say his name and he appears. It's like everybody's so excited. I was excited. I cheered.
It's a wonderful,
it's fun.
I think my favorite thing was he came in the ring and he was kind of doing, Joe's kind of doing his shtick, and Sheamus is just sitting in the corner.
Sheamus was having a great time.
And like somebody, I think it was like Jacob Fatu, like kicked Joe Hendry. He's like, hey man, I was enjoying that.
Yes, that was very funny because Sheamus was like clapping along. I was like, all right, well,
whatever. Because that was the thing I was enjoying watching, pointing out this time more than usual. I feel like with the wrestlers, they would do stuff, and they would they would do a bunch of shit, and then they would just lay in the corner.
Oh yeah,
and not even like fight with somebody in the corner. They would just be like taking a nap.
Yeah, it's my favorite. I mean, it was Jericho. I remember that one year that like Jericho was in for like however, I don't remember what number he was. He came in, he wrestled for like 2 minutes. He rolled out of the ring underneath the rope. So he's still in, and just laid down there for another 25 minutes.
Yeah,
and then he came back up. And I'm like, that's exactly, that's what I want.
That's more of like that's kind of really taking the gimmick for it. But sometimes usually it's just like Penta. Who's in there?
Oh, well, Penta got eliminated.
Penta was eliminated like in the first like minute. They're like, which they're like, no, that's not going to happen.
They're like, well, let's just pretend that actually didn't happen.
Because he did his thing where like, they do that thing where they're trying not to touch the ground.
Oh,
and,
his feet touch the ground.
He totally touched the ground, and they're just like, nope. He's got to be in there for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, he's
or 30 minutes or whatever.
Because he has to get thrown out by whoever. I can't remember who he got thrown out by.
Yeah, we can't. It's like we have to make sure this goes the way it goes. We can't just have him get eliminated right away. Because what are we gonna do?
Triple H can't blow his quads because
Triple H's gonna run out there and just be like, okay, I'm Penta now. No,
he's gonna get really mad. He's gonna slide under, rip both quads like Vince did.
Yeah. Now because his quads are basically 500-year-old rubber bands.
Yeah,
at this point.
Well, who is that? So they had some stupid streamer.
Speed.
Speed.
Oh, I want speed. Or
I want speed, or I need speed. I am speed. Something like that. I don't know. Some kid who's a streamer. I'm old. I don't know who that is. But he was at WrestleMania. He was dressed as like a Prime bottle, whatever. So they sent him out into the Rumble to take somebody's place.
Tozawa,
that's right, because he got like
laid out.
Yeah. So they sent him out to take his place, and then what's his face? Fucking just Braun
Breaker, like he gets in.
Oh man!
He came in and just gave him this guy the fucking.
And Braun Breaker's fast as fuck. Oh. It's insane how fast he is.
To this guy's credit, taking he
didn't die.
So first of all, taking a RKO, which
he took from our Randy Orton last year.
He ate that shit because Randy Orton, and Randy's like, been wrestling for like 25 years. He's like our age. He doesn't give a fuck about anything.
No, and he's never given a fuck about anything.
He's literally, but he doesn't give. He's way doesn't give a fuck now. And so he's just like, whatever, fucking kid, I'm gonna kill you. Yeah. And then he does that, and then fucking Braun Breaker is just like, oh hey, cool, and he just smashes this dude to bits.
Yeah, I'm surprised that kid lived. Like, I don't know how he didn't shatter something. Like, because again, Braun Breaker's so fast and he hits so hard.
Yeah.
And then he throws him out of the ring and he throws him to Otis, who I love. And Otis just hucks him over his shoulder.
He didn't even clean off the table to make sure he didn't hit it. He was just like,
it's very funny.
I actually, it just in concert with that. So Tozawa posted something on Twitter like after the Rumble, and he's like, next year I strive to take another step down the aisle.
He took like 2
because he's just barely out of the thing. I forgot who hit him, but somebody knocked him out. And he's
somebody
like,
coming. It was Carmelo.
Oh no, yes, Carmelo. Yeah, Carmelo Hayes. He just came because he just got eliminated. He's just like, fuck this. He just hit him. Yeah, and then we go cut backstage to Triple H with his like giant collared shirt, being like, "You need to go out there for some reason." Just not like there's not a million wrestlers backstage already working. Like you can literally just have
that's just a guy.
The Hurricane just go out there. He's like, "Where's my mask?" Okay, great. I'm the Hurricane, but I'm wearing my suit.
There's got to be some dude just sitting in catering.
I don't know. Just get on this fucking loudspeaker, and be like, "Catering, give us a wrestler," and then they come right in.
Oh man, you know what? I wish they had gone into catering, because I will say one of the most enjoyable things of the last 2 weeks watching the Bills is when they cut to the locker room and you can see the food, and there's like sandwiches and there's like bananas by a vat of Vaseline.
Yeah, that was strange.
I'm sure somebody just left it there, but it looked very funny. But
you could optics people.
Hey there, everyone. My name is Michael Bailey, and I host a podcast called It All Comes Back to Superman, which is currently on its second series. On July 11th, 2025, a new Superman film, written and directed by James Gunn, is coming to theaters. And not only will a new Superman enter the chat, but a new generation of Superman fans will enter the fold. To celebrate and mark this occasion, I'm embarking on a series of episodes called Moving Kryptonian Images, the live-action and animated adventures of Superman. Starting with Superman and the Mole Men and going all the way to the new movie, after it comes out, of course, I will be talking about all of the, live-action and animated Superman films that have been released. It's right there in the name of the series. I'm really not burying the lead here. But I won't be alone. Every episode will have a guest host or hosts joining me to talk about these movies. Some are old friends and some are brand new. Some I've podcasted with on numerous occasions, and for some, it will be our first time speaking. No matter the case, it will be a fun, sometimes silly, sometimes serious look at these films, what they mean to Superman, and what they mean to us as fans. The series kicks off on February 3rd, and barring real-life interruptions and a quick stop in April for my JSA April episode, the show will run weekly through August, when I end everything with a giant feedback, if I get any, episode which will also feature my personal rankings of the Superman films. From George Reeves to Christopher Reeve, from Dean Cain to David Corenswet, from Tim Daly to Matt Ballmer, Moving Kryptonian Images will cover them all. It All Comes Back to Superman Series 2 is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And you can find the home base for this and all of the other shows in the Fortress of Baileytude Podcasting Network at www.fortressofbaileytude.com.
Today, we're going to read this Defenders book. If I can just pick it up off the fucking ground here.
Nope.
Defenders number 42 from December 1976. And make sure it was not an 8.
Oh, man.
And yes, as we can point out here, so this is the first time I think we've done Defenders in a long while.
Yeah, I think so.
But we're going to hang out with the Defenders for a little bit.
The non-team, as they're referred to here.
Yeah, that's what they call them.
Which doesn't make any sense.
It's because it's such a dynamic sort of group, and whoever shows up. I always find it interesting that like Silver Surfer was in this group, but like he probably I feel like he was the one that was there the least. Mm-hmm. Because it's always usually it's always Hulk and Doctor Strange are like the ones that are the most prevalent. But the Defenders here, as we'll point out here in a minute, but they first of all, they consist of Hulk, Doctor Strange, Nighthawk, Valkyrie, and Luke Cage.
Well, I don't think he's technically part of this because they only named the 4 because I went back and looked because I was like, wait, I didn't see Power Man. He's not named.
Yeah, he's kind of just...
But he's just kind of hanging out.
He's there and he's kind of working with it. Like, he's been a part of the old... Because like New Defenders, yes. He's been a part of that. But like in the original run, he was kind of in and out there a few times.
I think this is kind of like he's stopping by, but he doesn't work there.
Well, they're in New York, so
maybe he's thinking about working there.
Thinking about it. He's like,
he's got a friend. He wants to look around the office, but he's not there yet. He hasn't signed paperwork.
Wants to check out the break room.
Yeah.
See
do
if
they have catering? Very important question.
Do they have bananas and Vaseline?
Yeah.
Who knows? The cover has the deadly new emissaries of evil. Rhino, Solar, and Egghead. The cover here, Egghead's nowhere to be found, but I think we're just outside of this Sanctum Sanctorum, and the Hulk and Rhino are going at it here in the front. Like, Rhino is crashing into him with his horn, and the Hulk's just like, punch.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the background, you have Solar. He is using his powers to turn the asphalt into liquid or whatever to, basically hinder Luke Cage from doing anything. And Valkyrie's just going, she's kind of got her arms up in a way that's she's very awkward. She's like, like, she's like, oh, she got her arms kind of like a wacky balloon man.
Yeah,
like,
she kind of does. Yeah.
She's holding the sword. And it's like, I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't look like you're about to battle. And Doctor Strange is flying in there. So yeah, it's going to be a party.
Yeah.
So in this corner, the new emissaries of evil. Emissaries that is not a good name.
No, it's not.
It doesn't feel very like.
It's not very scary because emissaries, I feel like, is something like people are appointed to.
I mean, technically they're appointed because Egghead is the one that runs it, and he's just like,
he's just trying to find dudes. I don't know if he's like, going out and being like, I'm going to put him up for a vote at the Egghead Congress.
Oh.
And they're going to appoint him to villainy.
Wait, is there an Egghead
Department
Congress?
Sure, why not?
Egghead Congress.
I mean, he does kind of look like FDR. I'm just going to say.
Oh, nice.
Does he not?
He does. You know what? Now you pointed it out. It's FDR if he had an oblong head.
Yeah, he kind of does.
So I enjoy this thing where we start out where we're talking like, I was like, on Friday nights, people usually go to a restaurant or a theater or a late night ball game.
Yeah. Or a bar.
Or a bar.
Sip a drink at a neighborhood bar.
Tie one on.
Yeah.
Just tie, maybe a little bit tight, maybe a little loose, who knows. But, or watch the omnipresent and omni-seeing tube. We're saying something.
Omni-seeing. Oh, that's right. He did call it that.
Tube.
Is it seeing?
He says omni. I had to look at that a few times. So I was like, omni-seeing doesn't really feel like a word.
Omnipresent, I would agree with, especially at this point in time. But
I feel like all-seeing would make more sense.
But the TV can't see me, hopefully.
Well,
it can now, but back then.
According to Jerry Conway, yes, the TV can see you. You could, anytime you're watching the TV, they watch you back.
Well, shit. So like, Married with Children just sits there and watches me?
Yep.
All right,
that's
cool.
When Al's sitting there with his hands in his pants.
He's just watching you sit on the couch staring at him.
He's like, Peck, this sucks. And whatever, just turns it. And he gives the dog $1 or whatever the hell he does at the beginning of that.
Gives the dog That's right. He used to give the dog money.
The dog would come up behind him.
That's right.
The dog would come up and he would just put a dog in.
Because everybody would come over and put their hand out and the dog would fucking come and he would give the dog money. Oh, Jesus. I just remembered that. You're right.
Buck the dog.
Buck the dog. He used to just sit there on the top of that landing on the stairs.
He didn't really do much. He wasn't
he sat there. What a good dog.
That's good. He was, you know what? That's all you need.
They literally were like, hey, dog, sit here for 30 minutes. The dog was like, yep. And he didn't move.
I hope their handlers or people that owned him get paid handsomely.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure Buck has passed away by now.
Yeah, no, I mean, but still. Well, technically, I think, I don't know, in storyline, Buck passed away and was reincarnated into a different kind of dog.
Oh, I do remember that.
So anyways, how do we get on this?
I don't know. I have no idea how we got here, but we were talking about
we're talking about the TV.
Oh, yeah, the Al Bundy watching us on TV. So yes, these things would be happening, but that's what you would do. But apparently, what's-his-face is on fire.
Yes. So somehow,
Nighthawk?
from the outside, Nighthawk
Nighthawk
is yelling "Yah!"
Well, he's on fire.
And he is on fire.
Kind of the way they positioned this, though, is like, hey, on a Friday night, this is what you do to unwind. But Nighthawk on fire.
Well, I don't know exactly.
To unwind?
I can't even remember.
This is kind of how it's positioned. It's like, oh, you would do this or you'd go to a neighborhood bar. But Nighthawk is, I don't know if it's like just this particular Friday.
No, it's just the way they're saying, like, okay, no, great. Yeah, if you're average, but if you're a member of the loose-knit Defenders, you're apt to be here on a Friday night and with Doctor Strange, and on this particular Friday, you're probably watching your friend be on fire.
Yeah, you know.
You just say, so like, I don't know if they just got back from something or if they were just about to maybe sit down and watch like some TV shows or some games or more movie, you know, and what's his face just when it became fire.
Yeah, he just caught on fire. And apparently like they're inside the headquarters or whatever.
Yeah, the Sanctum Sanctorium.
Yeah, and he just like caught on fire from outside. Like a bolt shot through a window is my assumption, and then he caught on fire. So Valkyrie's like, oh no, let me help you not be on fire.
Does she just like throw him up?
Yes, she does, because she just like basically like moves him so fast the fire goes out.
Right.
But then it's like he doesn't actually have any burns on his body, but he feels the pain of being on fire. And so she's like, I'll stay here with him. You guys go figure out what's going on.
Well, because Luke Cage is like, man, or holy mama.
Holy mama.
He says.
Because Hulk's like, Birdman, my friend.
He just crashes out of the whole building.
Yeah.
Because he's a Hulk.
Yeah.
To which Luke goes, sweet sister.
I mean, you'd think that they would have built an entrance by now. We're 47 issues in.
Hulk doesn't know how doors work.
But shouldn't there be like a Hulk curtain?
You know what? You'd think.
Because if not, it's just like a whole bunch of holes.
There should be, Doctor Strange should have like some sort of
like a garage,
malleable tunnel, malleable hole that Hulk can be like, oh, I leave here, smash.
Imagine
but he just goes through and it doesn't smash anything.
Giant dog door.
Yes.
Because then it has.
But it might cause a lot of heat to get in, or cold. Weather.
Other than that, he's going to be just like jumping through a wall at random places, and it's just nothing but holes. You're going to have a contractor like live there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he should have a giant dog door so the Hulk can jump out and not break anything.
Valkyrie's like, yeah, he's got no bird marks. This is really weird, but he's still in pain. And Doctor Strange's like, well, I'm going to go outside and see what's up.
Yeah. Let me go see what's going on outside.
And it's Solar, 2 hours, master of the solar flame. And he says, if you want to be deep fried like your beak-nosed associate, you better give me what I want.
Yes.
And he is bigger for some reason.
Very large.
He's not, because normally Solar is just a regular sized guy, but he is gigantic.
Does Solar do a lot in the Marvel universe?
He's a mutant, actually.
Oh, he's a mutant. Okay.
Yeah, he was like in a desert. Like he was.
Oh, no, they mentioned that.
Yeah.
That he like kind of gets the shitty version of Superman's powers because he's a giant solar battery.
Right.
But he just burns things, apparently.
Well, he could use that when he was in a desert after like a drug deal gone wrong. He was like stranded in a desert. And him being amongst all that sun, he activated his mutant powers, because a lot of times mutants, they kind of reach their their powers when they are
when there's a traumatic event,
but also like puberty or when they're younger. Like this guy seems like he's a grown ass man, and he's all of a sudden he's like, oh shit, I'm a mutant.
Yeah, maybe he just needed an extra kick. Yes,
he needed to be threatened with dehydration or whatever.
Yes.
So, but it turns out he has this power, and he eventually goes on to just die.
Nice.
He doesn't last he doesn't, he's not around for a ton, and things just happen.
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't. He's a jabroni.
Okay, fair.
So, but they're like, all right, let's go ahead and fuck with this guy. Luke Cage, though, as on the cover, he gets his feet embedded in molten tar.
Yeah, he's like, my feet,
my feet, and Hulk starts cutting a promo. No Hulk will crush you, bright giant.
Yes.
Hulk will. And then Rhino shows up behind him.
Yes, that's right.
He goes, pal, you're about as smart as a donkey's armpit. Which is actually a pretty good insult.
Very funny.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It is funny.
So, but yeah, it is the Rhino, and he just smacks the Hulk, smacks him into a fire hydrant, and the Hulk responds, now Hulk is wet and Hulk is angry.
That actually is the reverse of Drew McIntyre last night because Drew McIntyre, for some reason at the Rumble,
he had unusually dry hair.
He's always wet. They're always wet. I don't know all wrestlers except AJ Styles, who does not want to mess up his beautiful hair. They're always wet. So like Roman Reigns comes out and he's like dripping wet. Usually Drew comes out dripping wet, but
characteristically moist.
But for some reason his hair was like dry and like weirdly combed back.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what that deal was.
Yeah, and for some reason, then he got very angry, and I think it was because he was dry.
Drew is dry and Drew is angry.
I think that's exactly what happened.
Right, I was like, all right, well, we want this jewel. So I guess there's this Star of Capistan.
Yes.
Capistan.
Apparently it's a giant ruby that is the biggest ruby on the planet and any other planet. Don't know how you'd actually know that, but that's what it says.
That's a good question. How do you know it's not like the biggest ruby? There's a bigger ruby on like Oa.
How do you know there's not a planet made of ruby? Like you don't.
Oh, you don't know.
You don't know.
The space is big.
It is immense.
Space is infinite. There might be one at the very corner of space.
Doesn't it fucking rain diamonds on like Saturn or some bullshit?
Is that true?
There's some planet where it's supposed to rain diamonds. I don't remember which one.
Is that like there should be like a rap song or something.
Yeah, I gotta remember which that is. I know there's like
Jay-Z, it's raining diamonds on Saturn.
Let me see if I'm making this over. This is real. Sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, but the Solar's been barking about this stupid ruby, and Doctor Strange is like,
here it is. Diamond rain is a hypothetical phenomenon that occurs deep within the icy planets of Uranus and Neptune. So they're thinking it is possible. Whether or not it actually does, they don't know. No, NASA says it's raining diamonds on these planets.
Okay, it's been confirmed.
There you go, Uranus and Neptune.
Well, if you ever need a diamond for if you want to get an easy diamond for your
just
for
go
your
to Neptune.
engagement ring or maybe your school ring, school class ring, just go to Uranus.
Yeah, you'll get there in I don't know many years. I don't know how long it takes.
By the time you get back, there'll be no more Earth.
Yeah, you know what? That might be good though.
Yeah, I mean, but you'll at least have your diamond.
You'll have a diamond, and you'll be like the last person.
Yeah,
which may be okay.
You could bring back. If anything, you should bring back a bunch of diamonds and then start your own diamond store on apocalyptic Earth.
Yeah, and you'll sell them to no one. But you know what? It's all right.
Yeah, he's barking about this jewel. Doctor Strange's like, I don't know the fuck you're talking about, dude.
We don't have a jewel, and they're like, no, you have the jewel. Give me the jewel, and everybody's like,
give me the stone.
We don't have it.
But so Doctor Strange
literally don't have it.
Doctor Strange tries to do like a binding spell of some sort.
And Solar basically slaps it away like it's nothing.
And Doctor Strange is really confused because that's not how that should happen. Because any corporal being should be affected by it.
Which means he's not actually there.
He's not actually there, but we don't know that yet.
Yeah.
But Hulk and Rhino are still fighting. Rhino's kind of be like, yeah, you kind of suck now, man. I had a harder time fighting you when I was hanging out with Abomination.
Yeah.
Hulk's like, shut up, Gray Man. Your voice makes Hulk sick. And Rhino's like, yeah, well, write a letter to your congressman, Marble Mouth. And then he gets punched.
Are we talking like Paul Giamatti, Rhino, or?
I mean, sure. Yeah. So I guess we can imagine Paul Giamatti saying these things. Like,
yeah. Yeah, and that's why it's like your voice makes me angry.
Oh, your voice is terrible.
Yeah, it's doing that.
Oh, PG. Yeah, he gets chucked, and then Luke Cage just starts like body slamming him by the horn.
That's fun.
Which is kind of neat.
I mean, yeah, that's a good idea.
Hulk uses the fire hydrant that is loose and douses Doctor Strange.
Yes, because Doctor Strange is on fire because of Solar.
Yes.
So Hulk just punches the top of it off and gets Doctor Strange all wet.
Yeah, and so Doctor Strange determines my spell should have did something, but he's not really here because it would have worked. But if that must mean he's not here,
right? Which means his fire is not real.
A heat formed mirage, and I guess it's something that he has been that Solar is able to do. But I mean, if his fire's a mirage, why does it hurt?
That is something we still don't know because they talk about it later. And the doctor says it's like a just kind of in your imagination type of thing. So I don't know.
But this is still but the thing somebody like Doctor Strange should probably be able to tell the difference.
I don't know because
it being a some sort of psychic or mystical thing or whatever.
It's strange because they don't really explain it.
Yeah, no, we don't know much about it.
Yeah.
So Solar goes into this to the Sanctum Sanctorium. Valkyrie's there, and Valkyrie's like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna start kicking your ass."
He's like, "Jewel, please," and she's like,
He's like,
"What?
Yeah, there's no jewel here." And then
We don't know. You won't listen because he's convinced that they're lying. He's like, "We're not. We literally have no idea what you're talking about."
we do not have the jewel. We do not have any jewel CDs. We do not have DVDs of Jewel of the Nile.
Yeah.
We don't have any of that stuff.
Nothing.
But they finally figured this out, and they're like, well, why are we fighting them? We should just leave.
Yeah, they're like, wait a second. There's no reason to be fighting if they don't have this jewel. And everybody keeps telling us they don't. And they look like they don't have any clue what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like they're not even lying. They literally have no idea. So Rhino and Solar are like, all right, bye.
Rhino's like, hey, man, I'm only in this for money. And, there's no point in me slapping around with the Hulk if there's
no jewel.
No jewel involved. So.
Yeah, why am I slapping this guy?
So they get zipped up into the space.
Because apparently, Egghead.
Yeah, we're going in space.
We're in space with Egghead, who looks like FDR.
He does look like FDR, yeah.
And apparently, he mentions that he stole this satellite laboratory thing from NASA.
Well, we're gonna get to that,
okay?
Because he brings up the villains, and they're like, "Hey, you said the jewel was here, but it's not."
Yeah, because they're like, "How?" He's like, why did you come back without this jewel? And they're like, they literally don't have it. And he's like, what the hell? They absolutely do. I know they do. And they're like, no, they had no clue what we were talking about, and we couldn't find it.
Egghead, because he's a smart guy, refuses to believe that he can be wrong.
Right, of course.
Because he is an arrogant, smart guy.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, well, I'm always right. And you didn't bring me what I wanted, so I'm going to put you in stasis of some sort.
It's called the time
stasis tube.
Yeah. And the guy's like, no, it's apparently it's terrible in there.
I guess it hurts.
But they're going to spend like 10 hours in there or something.
Right. And then in a previous issue of Defenders, the great giant size ones, his niece had her arm destroyed, blown off or something by Yellow Jacket or whatever. Because Egghead's usually like involved with like Yellow Jacket and Wasp and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right. But this is when he's like, well, I got out of prison, and the first thing I did was steal Space Station from NASA.
Yeah, he was like, I was up here. How? We don't know. What's funny about this?
It just says, I just tricked the guard, and then I took the space station.
Yeah, so now he has his own little space station laboratory. But what he's doing is not to arouse NASA's suspicion, is filing the reports that they would file with NASA on Earth. So they think people are up here working like they're supposed to be. Like, why don't you just do that, man? Like, obviously you're giving them the information they need. If they're not, you're good at this. Maybe this should be what
just
you
work
do.
for NASA.
Yeah, exactly. If you're smart enough to do this, why don't you just work for NASA?
NASA could probably build your niece a new arm.
Oh, probably.
Let's be reasonable here, Egghead. But he is just
nope. He's got to do evil.
Whatever. It's just ridiculous.
It's very silly.
If the space station did he just happen upon it when it was launching?
That's a really good, that's what my assumption is.
Did he just hotwire it in the night and just take off with it?
Or was he just in space? Maybe he was coming back from Neptune looking for his diamonds.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, hey, check this out. And then he just took it. I don't know.
That's insane.
It is very strange.
Because you can't, I'm trying to understand.
A guard to get something to launch into space,
but you can't just launch it without having a control plate panel. For space, that's how the fucking spaceship, the rockets go up.
Yeah,
the shuttles or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a really good question. I have no idea how.
And look, this is probably why a lot of people think that this shit is faked.
What, the moon landing?
Yeah, they're probably this is impossible.
They're like, yes,
I could just take you could just do that anywhere.
Right, it's true.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he does kind of soliloquy here and talk about all the stuff that he's been doing. So he's like, well, I needed some crew, so I got Solar, and I found the what's his face, Rhino, And I got all those guys.
And he's like, well, I'm going to send somebody else because those two were idiots. So then we're back on Earth. We go to the hospital. Are we at the hospital? Yeah. So we go to the hospital.
Right. We do get a little bit of background here where with this Ruby, this Star of Kapistan is about.
Yes.
It's a secret Pakistani religious cult. And the largest ruby on this planet or any other planet.
Don't believe that.
And Doctor Strange
I think that's fake.
His buddy are used to it.
Yeah, so we're at the hospital, and this is where they're like, well, you're doing it. You weren't burned. I realize you have pain or whatever.
To Nighthawk.
Yeah, to Nighthawk. And then this old guy comes to talk to Doctor Strange, and he's like, yes, aged one.
He doesn't look that old. He just looks like a dude.
He's not only that. Why? If some old person comes up to you in the store and says, excuse me, are you going to go, yes, aged one? Maybe we should. I don't know.
Start calling them aged ones. I'm surprised you didn't call him geezer.
Yeah, right? Being rude.
Hey, crusty old Gramps, what's up? It's just a guy. Like,
what do you want, old man? Like,
this guy is just like a friend of Stephen Strange's friend.
Yeah, so he's coming to give him some information. So he gives Stephen Strange the information, and then he's like, all right, Defenders, I got to go do this thing. So I'll be back.
I guess just saying, pray that I come back in one piece.
And if I don't, RIP me.
Yeah.
So he leaves. Is this where he goes to talk to his friend?
Yeah, you just go right to this place where we go to. I guess he just goes to somewhere in 6th Avenue.
Yeah.
He just goes to a hotel in 6th Avenue.
And his buddy's just like, hi.
Yeah, this guy, what's his name? Oh, Omar Karindu.
And he's like, starts telling about the stone. And then he's like, hey, by the way, see this like random lump? Here it is. I forget what Strange says to him.
About what?
He just says something like, oh, then that means, or something like that. And then we kind of cut away from them.
It's really just a matter of way just to introduce this Ruby.
Yeah.
And just get this thing here because he's like, hey, so, I hear you have a problem with something called the Cult of the Unliving
Yes,
4?
that's right. That's a terrible name, too.
That is. Yeah, we're in the book full of terrible names here.
I mean, Zombie 4 would have been better.
I don't know what exactly wants to do with this Ruby.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something's going on. So I'm sure we'll find out next issue.
But Doctor Strange gets transfixed by this.
Yes.
He gets transfixed by this Ruby.
And that's kind of where we leave it.
Yeah. And well, we have one more thing going on here.
Well, no, I mean, leave it for Strange.
Yeah, because this Ruby does play a bunch into the next couple issues.
Yes. We cut back to outside the hospital where the Hulk wearing a trench coat.
Hulk wearing a trench coat and a hat and his purple pants, just sitting very patiently on a bench.
Amazing drawing.
It is great.
Just sitting there on a bench, just incognito like a fucking Ninja Turtle.
You're right.
And he's just waiting, and he's just like, waiting for my friends. And then all of a sudden, like, an earthquake starts happening. And that is when, was Cobalt is this guy?
Cobalt Man.
Cobalt Man, who looks like a robot, appears.
Cobalt Man emerges from the ground, and Hulk's like, I'm going to smash you.
Yeah, because that's what Hulk does.
Hulk, anytime Hulk sees something he doesn't like, he's going to smash it.
Yeah, it's a good reaction to have.
Yeah.
When you just start smashing shit.
And we kind of get some background. This is the guy that Egghead was like, okay, I'm going to send him because...
Yeah, because he found him in space.
There was a fight prior in a couple, in one of Hulk's books.
Yes.
In Hulk's book, that this Cobalt Man ended up in space.
Yeah.
Just kind of floating around there. And I was like, well...
And he's like, well,
don't mind if I do.
Don't mind if I do. I'm just going to steal this guy. And so he now sends him back. And so that is when the Hulk starts fighting him. Valkyrie comes to fight.
Well, yeah, the Defenders see him outside the window.
And even Nighthawk's like, well, I guess I'm going. And then...
I'm not wearing a shirt.
He's not wearing a shirt. And the doctor's like, wait, your injuries. And he goes, well, you told me that they're imagined.
Yeah.
So I'm going out. And I'm doing the thing.
I mean, I was thinking about these injuries, and now I'm not.
Yeah, and now I'm going to do the thing.
I'm going to hang out with my friends.
Yeah.
But he does something. I'm not exactly sure what he does to attack. He like flies down and then smashes into this Cobalt Man, and then like I don't know if he bangs his head because he's like or hits his arm or elbow or something. Like you just see like, ow, that hurts.
Yeah, I don't exactly know.
I don't think we see him for the rest of this book.
No.
Although he's swiped out and he calls Cobalt Man Blue Bod.
Yeah.
Heads up, Blue Bod.
Blue Bod.
We got Egghead watching from space, and he's like, I'm going to activate Cobalt Man so he reaches critical mass because nuclear physics and shit.
Yeah.
You know, that's what this guy does.
Mm-hmm.
The defenders, you know, all jump in to smash him into like a car and everything. Cobalt Man starts glowing. He's about to explode. And Luke Cage, the last panel of the book is Luke Cage saying Christmas. And I thought I had problems on 42nd Street. Which I'm like, ooh.
Christmas.
Do you think Luke Cage ever encountered Belial from Basket Case?
Oh, you know what? That would definitely be a problem on 42nd Street.
I kind of would like to think that in the heyday of the seediness of Times Square and whatever 42nd Street or whatever things were going on there, that he did end up fighting some really grimy like characters. Actually, it's probably I've never really read. We've read like one Power Man book on the show.
We only did one, and he's shown up, I think, in one or two others.
I probably should try to get more of those trades because there's a good slice of New York in there.
Nice.
But that is how this ends. Because the next issue, Red Guardian returns, plus the startling climax of our mini epic.
Oh, that's right. They did mention Red Guardian, and somebody was like, "I miss Red Guardian," but I think
it was Doctor Strange.
I think she got deported or something.
She might be something. She might get deported.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm assuming that means she's Russian. Yeah.
She's a Russian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently she's coming back. So
All right.
we're gonna hang out with her. And next issue is This World Is Mine.
Oh, okay.
That is the end of Defenders number 42 from December 1976. And we're gonna catch up on that next week. I figured, you know, again, we haven't touched upon Defenders since coming back, but also it's been a while just in general. And I think, you know, this was a consecutive arc. So we'll see what has to happen. I just enjoy anytime the Defenders. I just like Hulk being in the Defenders. He's always just so
smashy
and unfiltered. He just doesn't care about anything.
I also would like to see him in more trench coats.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Green characters love trench coats.
They sure do.
Let's
they all like to dress like flashers. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. They're like, you know what? We need to be incognito. Let's look like a creepy guy who's either going to ask you to buy a watch or who's going to show you his genitals.
Hulk act inappropriate. That's going to do for this week's show. Find us on all of the socials. YouTube, Angry Hero 79 is my channel where you can find an ongoing playlist of this show, or you can check out the link in my in this description of the show, and you'll be able to subscribe that way to that playlist if that's your preferred method. You can also email us, worstcollectionever@gmail.com. You can just go ahead and let us know what you think of the show. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. That would be very groovy of you. So I think that's going to do it. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to you again next time.
Bye.